Paperback Rocker, episode 65. Hey, this is Matt Syverson, the Paperback Rocker, and I'm broadcasting from my 6x9 foot cinder block shack in the desert of northern Mexico, southern Texas. Welcome and thanks for checking out my show.
His mixer is on fire, his espresso maker is steamy, and his popsicles are frozen. It's the Paperback Rocker.
We got to let that boy boogie, and I felt so good.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your old friend Matt, and I'm back again with my Paperback Rocker podcast featuring the Blue Whiskey audiobook series. We are on volume 10. When we last read, Stanton Wheelhouse had just played the first song he ever wrote for Reuben, the tavern owner, his master, and the supposed son of Faulkner, the drunk at the bar. I'm seeing quite a few downloads lately, so if you're listening to this somewhere out there in the world, why don't you drop me a line and say hi? It'd be interesting to know who's taking this in. But anyway, let's get started. I am on the bottom of page 55. I'm going to reread a short amount of the last episode's passage just to get us back into the scene. Once again, contact me at paperbackrocker@live.com. Buy my books on Amazon or contact me directly. Thanks for listening. Here we go. And he has just played the song. When I found the courage to lift my lids, I saw smiles on their faces and relaxed. Bravo, Stanton. That was horrible, said Reuben. Shitty, added what I now considered the bastard son of Faulkner. Thanks, I said, fighting back tears, as if either of you could do better. I thrust the guitar into Reuben's arms and jumped down from the bar to leave. What's this? Said Reuben with a shocked look. I'm getting the hell out of here, I said. You can find some other Rube to make fun of. Tut, tut, Stanton, he said, which came across as dismissive and patronizing. My opinion means nothing, said the son of Faulkner. I'm tone deaf. Reuben gave Faulkner his own dismissive look and motioned for the man to pour himself his first ale of the day. Let's go for a walk, Stanton. We went out the back door and onto the sidewalk on the same path I had traveled the morning before. Tell me about yesterday, said Reuben. I was happy to shift our focus from my dismal performance. I told him everything and he asked no questions. Eventually we reached the bench and sat down. This is where I wrote my shitty song, I said through clenched teeth. How good did you expect your first song to be, Stanton? I looked him in the eyes, sensing I was being entrapped. I didn't even think I could write a song. So your first effort was a success. How can you call it that? I asked, not seeing the snare. You did what you thought you could not do, Reuben said. It certainly wasn't as good as the things you will do in the future, but every journey starts with the first step. Feel better now? My song was pretty shitty, I said. What can you expect, being told to go out into the city and have some unique experience and write a song about it, all in the same day? I think you did a damn fine job under the circumstances. I smiled, not caring that I was hanging upside down by one leg in Reuben's invisible trap. Let's get back, he said. We're going to be busy tonight. Any more assignments for my development? I asked. Just keep your mind working at all times. If you're sweeping, be writing a lyric in your head. While unclogging the toilet, be thinking of a melody. Mop boy at the Thirsty Possum is the best job you could have right now. And get to know yourself better, too, who you want to be. I understood what he meant and made a vow to myself that I would focus my thoughts on artistic and personal growth at all times. Walking back, Reuben said, You told me you didn't like the guitar lessons, but I'm of the opinion that success for you in music has the most favorable odds if you are resigned not to attend college or join the military. As your mentor, I must ask if you feel I am pushing you in the wrong direction. I'm seeing music from a different perspective now, I said. Are you okay with that? I think so, I said, and we didn't speak for the rest of the night. By now I knew the job at the Possum and wanted to do it right. I wanted to do everything right for my mentor. That evening while I worked, my thoughts were less about creativity than introspection. I had grasped from Reuben that I needed to understand myself and know who I was if my message was to be of value to others. Something that surfaced in my thoughts bothered me, my relationship with my father. He was a great man, there was no denying that, and I was sure of my father's love for me, although it went unsaid, which I later realized caused resentment in me. By leaving home, I had given up on trying to garner respect or even approval from the man. Having only one father and no other basis for comparison, I decided my father was normal and I was the one with the problem. Everything wrong about the relationship with my father was my fault. It's easy to understand my thinking when I look back. My father was an accomplished scholar. I was honest enough with myself to know I had neither the aptitude nor discipline to match him in that arena. That was self-defeating, and it caused me to not even try to educate myself, which I'm sure was a disappointment to him. It was an example of what was later termed a catch-22. Looking back as I am, I also realized I was smarter than I gave myself credit for. I had received a suitable primary education, and merely being in the presence of my father at mealtimes improved my vocabulary dramatically. It all worked out in the end. But that night, as a young man of 17, mopping up puke and rolling kegs around, it got me down, and I felt like a failure. For an instant, I felt like plunging through the plate glass front window of the Thirsty Possum in dramatic fashion, but resisted. Then I thought, I'll drown myself in the Mississippi River. That'll show him. A wave of self-disgust rolled through me. I happened to be cleaning up vomit in the women's restroom at the time, but the task had nothing to do with my feelings. After all, I had recently spent time with First Mate Stubbs. Vomit had nothing on him. Why would I ever think of killing myself to spite my father, I said aloud. It's ridiculous. I need to find success on my own, in my own way. I don't have to be a scholar. My father wants me to be happy, even if he can't say it. My words brought me relief. Any resentment was gone for the time being, and it freed me. From the second I finished mopping up that puke, it was all systems go. I completed the night's work without more heavy thoughts. I observed the possum's patrons and made up backstories for them, which I later turned into songs. I had stumbled upon an exercise I would use to spur creativity for the rest of my life. Not bad for my first night as an artist. Okay, that's the end of chapter 5. Chapter 6 is on page 59 in this beautiful hardback and affordable. I slept wonderfully that night and every night for months. I loved working at the Possum and spending time with Reuben. I woke up each morning with a smile, thinking I had really started to live. And what was even better, I was living my life. Wanderlust was now docked in the little dirt lot behind the Possum. One day I came to consciousness, realizing I had slept especially late, but I knew Reuben could have woken me if he needed my help. I walked in the rear of the saloon just as he opened the door from his upstairs bedroom on the opposite side of the back wall. "Morning, Master Reuben," I said. "That it is, Stanton." He looked at the empty bar stools and asked, "Seen Faulkner?" "Not yet." "He didn't sleep in your van?" "No. Surely a man like the son of Faulkner has many places to sleep one off," I said. "Hope the coppers didn't pick him up." We got about cleaning up the bar after the raucous night previous. I wiped down the booths and Reuben washed glasses. The jukebox remained silent. We went about our business, still waking up. A glass crashed on the floor and broke. Damn it, Reuben said with unusual wrath. It's only a glass, I said. Don't get so upset. It's not that, Stanton. That glass was already broken. It cut me. I rushed over to survey the damage. I considered myself an expert on wounds, due to the battles with my twin sister growing up. The cut was bad, but it was clean. I'm going to need a lot of stitches, Reuben said in an overly pained voice. Nonsense. I may have very little worldly experience, but I'm well versed on superficial flesh wounds, and this is a textbook example. I reached for a clean bar towel and handed it to him. Apply pressure. It's going to take a while, but the blood flow will stop and the skin will grip. Then we'll tape it up with a bandage. It felt good being the expert for once. I'm trusting you, Reuben said. If I end up with gangrene, I don't know what I'll do. I laughed and got back to my cleaning. Reuben held the towel for only a minute or two before peeking at the cut. It's still bleeding, Stanton. You've got to hold it for 10 or 15 minutes, I said. If you keep looking, the blood won't clot. Reuben sighed and sat down in the booth next to the one I was cleaning and put his hands on the table and waited. A knock came at the door, startling both of us. We looked out the front window and saw two policemen with hard faces. We went to the door, and Reuben turned the lock and opened it, placing the hand wrapped in towel under the opposite arm. Can I help you, officers? He asked. There's a man who is usually here, one of them said, an eccentric. The son of Faulkner, Reuben said. Has he been nicked? The policemen looked at each other, and I knew by their shared glance that something dreadful had happened. He's been killed, the second policeman said. We're very sorry to inform you. Nonsense, said Reuben. You've got the wrong man. You found some overdosed derelict, and you've mistakenly identified him. The eccentric who frequents my saloon is the gentleman's son of William Faulkner. Nobody would want to hurt him. Can you come with us? The first copper said. We need an official identification of the body. Reuben looked at me with a furrowed brow, worried eyes, and abject, miserable fear on his face. Then he looked down at the blood-stained towel wrapped around his hand and back at me. I'll go, I said to the cops. I know the man. I gave Reuben an awkward hug and left with the policemen, riding in the back of their cruiser like a criminal. I dreaded what would be revealed to me when the sheet was pulled back. When the car stopped, I was in a mental fog and still not fully awake. They had to let me out of the vehicle since there were no door handles in the back. I was not thinking creatively at the time, but a soft piano melody began to play in my mind over and over, very slowly. We entered the building and walked down a long hall and down a flight of stairs to a basement that was very cool compared to the street. The room was mostly empty, and it had drains in the floor. There was another man there with a clipboard. He wore a white lab coat. We gathered at a gurney. No words were spoken. The man in the lab coat pulled the sheet back, and it was like slow motion. The piano in my head played on, still slow, but more forceful, and it felt like my sister was playing it. I saw the face of the son of Faulkner and said, "Oh no." His skull above his right ear was crushed, as if by a brick. Tears gathered in my eyes, and my lips pursed, quivering. I had never seen a dead body before. The son of Faulkner in his ragged suit with his head bashed in was the sight that changed me. He looked so pitiful, like a run-over dog, so helpless. The man with the clipboard took the pen from his lab coat pocket and recorded that the dead man was who the police suspected him to be. I hadn't said anything to indicate that, but he knew. "What's his full name?" I asked. "Did he have any identification?" The man in the lab coat picked up a manila envelope laying next to the son of Faulkner's head on the gurney. He opened it and produced a cheap wallet and pulled out an identification card and handed it to me. I focused on it through tears in my eyes and read, Melville Cuthbert Walker. I smiled and laughed. Ha 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 ha! The last syllable rose with my spontaneous joy and slowly descended. The cops and the man in the lab coat surely thought that very strange under the circumstances. The policeman dropped me off in front of the Thirsty Possum, and the one in the passenger seat said, "Sorry, son," as I stood on the sidewalk facing the car. "Thank you," I said with respect and turned away. The front door was locked. I saw a sign in a plate glass window scrawled in the same handwriting of the one that beckoned me weeks before. It said, "Closed indefinitely." I walked around the building and entered through the back door, having learned how to jiggle the knob the right way. Reuben was standing behind the bar in a trance. The towel around his hand was gone, and I saw a fresh bandage over the cut. "It was him, wasn't it?" he said, without looking at me. I couldn't say the words, so Reuben looked at me and I nodded slowly. "Why?" Reuben yelled. He picked up a glass and wanted to throw it against the wall, but didn't. There was an intense struggle raging within him. He set it back down where it was before and almost broke it. It was as if his muscles had a mind of their own, and they really wanted to hurl that glass against the wall. Reuben looked at me, and the look on his face wilted me. His lips were pulled back in an expression of anguish, and I saw his gritted, grinding teeth. The tears started, for both of us. We crash-landed in a booth across from each other and sat for a long time without speaking. At one point, Reuben grabbed my hand and held onto it in a brotherly manner, mentor to mentee. "This world is fucked up, Stanton," Reuben said. "Don't ever try to convince me otherwise." I said nothing in reply. "Let's go for a walk." We wandered out the back door and away from the building. When we were half a block away, I said, "Do you want me to go back and lock the back door since Faulkner's gone?" It was bad timing, I guess, but I was thinking of Reuben. I didn't want the place to be robbed on top of everything else. Reuben stopped walking and looked at me with tears pooling in his eyes. Before I knew it, he had his arms wrapped around me. I hugged him back, thinking about how lonely Reuben and I would be without the constant presence of the son of Faulkner. "It's going to be okay," I said. "At least we have each other." "Let's dedicate our lives to the son of Faulkner," Reuben said, "whether he was really Faulkner's son or not." "He was the son of Faulkner," I said. "I saw his name." "His last name was really Faulkner?" "No, it was the middle name that gave it away. It was the same as mine. My father named me after William Faulkner." "Let me get this straight," Reuben said. "William Faulkner, you and the son of Faulkner all have the same middle name?" "Yes, Cuthbert." Reuben looked at me with an amused and somewhat bewildered look on his face, but said nothing. His full name was Melville Cuthbert Walker," I said. "I think it goes without much speculation that the first name was a tribute to Herman Melville. I was very familiar with classic books and their authors, even when I had not read them." Okay, that looks like a good place to stop for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. We're on, at this moment, page 63, and that's where we'll pick up next time. Have a good one. Thanks for being with me. I'll see you next time.
The Paperback Rocker has signed off.